Let us now look at a fourth theory for the social foundations of education, and that is the labeling theory. The labeling approach simply allows for an explanation that the school authorities or the teachers can use for what happens within schools. Schools should be centers of excellence, centers where knowledge is transferred to students, where knowledge is experienced by students, and students can use that knowledge and information for their advantage. Mostly, that is not true. It does not happen. So, over time, when a student goes through a class after class after class, where the teacher simply says, "You're slow, you're weak, you can't do it," options for that student are cut down. While for a student where the teacher says, "Yes, you're great, you're bright, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this," options are opened up. And if you ever experience schools in the real sense, you will see that these slow students, you can't be part of the drama, you can't be part of the music club, you can't play sports, you can't do this. Options shut down for these students. Not the right thing to do. In fact, these students need more options than your bright ones. And that is what people need to understand, especially teachers and school runners or owners in that matter. Labeling theory is interested in why people are labeled and who it is that does the labeling. Now, the second question is easier to answer. Who does the labeling? The teacher. Why does the teacher do it? You will never get one correct answer to that. Teachers do it because they just feel they have to do it, they want to do it, there is the need to do it, but is it really necessary? The answer to that question is no, it is not really necessary to label students. So, when you are labeled as a low achieving student, deviance sets in. Behavior problems now begin to show. My teacher doesn't expect me to do well. So why should I do well? So I'm not going to do my homework. I'm not going to do the reading. I'll take my time finishing my work, and I will be a discipline or a behavior problem in the classroom. I think we teachers create the discipline issues in our classroom. I honestly believe students have nothing to do with discipline in our classrooms. It's the teacher. So, how does the community decide what forms of conduct should be singled out? So, for example, if you look at the community or the society as a school, who in the school decides what are the rules and regulations? What is good behavior? What is not so good behavior? And one thing that really appalls me is silence. Talking is not seen as a good thing in a classroom. Well, I think if teachers want silence in the classroom, they should go and teach in a graveyard. In the classroom, students should be allowed to talk, and a certain amount of noise level should be tolerated. These are young individuals. Silence is not going to help them learn. So, who decides on all this? School people, the principal, the headmaster, the teachers. Who decides what rules will apply as good behavior or not so good behavior? Social control can have the paradoxical effect of generating more of the very behaviors we don't want. When we punish individuals and we punish students, what do schools do? Call the parents, stand in the corner, beat the child. The child learns nothing from all this. The child only learns to be more defiant. Does not help the school, the teacher, or the student. So if deviance is functional, in other words, if teachers expect students to misbehave, then that's the way it should be treated. It should be treated as a normal expectation in a classroom. Why do we think that only good behavior is what should be seen in the classroom? Every individual is not going to behave appropriately. We see that in families. All brothers and sisters are not good. All brothers and sisters don't behave in the same way. Sometimes some sibling gets into trouble, sometimes another sibling gets into trouble. But that doesn't mean that they are thrown out of the house. So, what do we do? How do we bring this defiant kid to understand that this is not appropriate? And how do we change that defiant kid into a kid who will follow rules and regulations? The first dramatization of the evil which separates the child out of the group. Once a child's slow, who wants to be with the slow child? Nobody. Even the teacher doesn't want to be with the slow child. So the child is automatically singled out. When I'm alone, when I'm a loner, when I have nobody on my side, what am I going to do? Behave? Certainly not. I will let people know I'm alone and I can do lots of things that you can't do, and you may not like it. So, what are we then, as the teacher, doing about these kids in our classroom? Because they are there, very much so. And the secondary defiant thing is a person's identity. It hurts that person's identity because one incident, and honestly, the whole school is talking about this child. This is what this child in class 4 did today. He was a nuisance. He bothered Miss XYZ, and the whole school is talking about it. Does it help the child? No. I think a lot of these kinds of issues in classrooms need to be kept confidential.